Galactic Empire panics. Who let a human battleship get this close? The vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly around the human battleship. The stars glimmered softly, each a distant sun in the endless darkness. Commander Ethan Cole stood on the bridge, looking at the display screens. The ship hummed quietly, moving steadily through the void. Captain Laura Bennett stood beside him, her eyes scanning the readings. The humans had trained for years for missions like this, but even they could feel the tension in the air. Something about this journey felt different. They had left human space weeks ago. Their orders were simple: explore the outer edges of known galactic territory, map uncharted systems, and report back. There were no plans to attack, no plans to conquer. Humans were curious by nature, and they wanted to learn what lay beyond their home systems. Yet the farther they went, the more they realized that the universe was not empty. Alien civilizations had long claimed vast regions of space. Some were friendly, some indifferent, and others were dangerous. The Galactic Empire, the largest known power, controlled hundreds of star systems. Its borders were said to be impenetrable. Humans had no plans to test that claim, but they had crossed paths with defenses more than once. On the bridge, Ethan leaned over a console. "Something S on the scanners," he said. His voice was calm, but there was curiosity in it. Laura walked over and looked at the readings. "Unknown object," she said. "It's large, but the readings are strange. It doesn't match anything in the database." The ship's sensors had picked up an Imperial patrol ship far away, but it had already changed course. It seemed the patrol had not noticed them yet. The humans were alone in this part of space. "Could it be a natural formation?" Laura asked. "Maybe," Ethan replied. "But the movement isn't natural, it's deliberate, it's heading straight for us." He tapped a few keys, trying to get a closer look. The display showed a massive shape moving quietly, a slow but purposeful approach. Humans were not alone, and whatever this was, they were advanced. Deep inside the Empire, alarms began to sound. Admiral Korvath stood on a platform overlooking a room full of officers. The Galactic Empire had sensors everywhere, and a strange reading appeared in a region that was considered safe. "How is this possible?" Korvath demanded. "Who allowed a human vessel to get this close?" The officers looked uneasy. The Empire had long dismissed humanity as a minor threat. Humans had never shown the ability to move deep into Imperial space. Their technology had always seemed primitive compared to Imperial fleets. Now that belief was being challenged. Back on the human ship, Ethan and Laura continued to observe the readings. The unknown object was no longer moving toward them. It had stopped. The humans felt a strange sense of calm. They did not panic, even though the object was clearly something powerful. Ethan opened a communication channel. "This is Commander Ethan Cole of the human exploration vessel Horizon. We mean no harm. Please identify yourself." Silence followed. The stars outside seemed indifferent, but inside the ship, tension built slowly. Laura frowned. "Why haven't they responded?" she asked. "Maybe they are cautious," Ethan said. "Or maybe they are trying to figure out what we are." Humans had a habit of moving with confidence, even when surrounded by uncertainty. The aliens on the other side of this encounter might be learning that confidence now. Hours passed. The unknown vessel remained silent. Its shape became clearer on the human sensors. It was unlike anything they had seen before. Its hull was smooth, reflective, and enormous. Humans had built large ships before, but this was on a scale they had never imagined. The ship seemed to be waiting, observing, learning. Ethan realized that they were being studied just as much as they were studying the universe. Inside the Empire, panic grew. Reports poured into the Central Command. Fleets were mobilized and messages were sent to border worlds. Generals argued, shouting across rooms filled with screens and holograms. "This is impossible," one general said. "Our defenses should have detected them earlier," Another replied, "This is humanity. We underestimated them. We must respond immediately." Corvath listened quietly. He was a veteran of hundreds of battles, and yet he had never felt so uncertain. The humans had done something unexpected. They had reached the edge of the Empire without alerting the defenses until now. On the horizon, the human ship continued its slow journey. Ethan and Laura discussed what they had learned. "They are nervous," Laura said quietly. "We have caused more fear than we expected." Ethan nodded. Humans often did not intend to frighten others, but their actions and capabilities naturally commanded respect. It was not arrogance. It was simply the result of being prepared, being adaptable, and being persistent. Suddenly, the unknown ship moved. It was slow at first, then accelerated toward a nearby system. Ethan and Laura adjusted their trajectory. "They are still cautious," Ethan said. "They are testing us, probably trying to understand our speed, our reaction." Laura looked at him. "They might be trying to figure out if we are dangerous." Ethan nodded. Humans had faced danger before, and they had survived by using their minds, not just their strength. As the hours passed, humans began to notice small details. The alien ship had no visible weapons. Its surface seemed empty, yet its sensors were clearly advanced. Every movement was calculated, every pause deliberate. Ethan realized that the aliens were not acting out of aggression, they were analyzing. Laura agreed. "They are studying us. We are a curiosity." The galaxy beyond human space was vast and full of mysteries. Many civilizations had assumed that humans were weak and insignificant. Some had even dismissed them as primitive and unworthy of notice. Now, those assumptions were being challenged. Humans had a habit of surviving the impossible, of moving through challenges calmly and intelligently. Their ability to adapt made them unpredictable, and unpredictability was something that terrified powerful empires. Deep inside the empire, debate continued. Some wanted to attack immediately. Others argued that the humans might be a minor curiosity, and a careful study could yield valuable intelligence. Corvath weighed the options. He had fought countless enemies, but humans were different. There was something in their confidence, their calm demeanor, their willingness to approach the unknown without fear, that unsettled him. The Empire had not encountered this before. Back on the human ship, Ethan and Laura prepared for the night cycle. Crew members moved about quietly, maintaining equipment, checking systems, and recording data. Humans were resilient by nature. They rested when they could, worked when they must, and never panicked in the face of uncertainty. It was not bravery, it was habit, honed by centuries of survival on a world filled with dangers, disasters, and unpredictable challenges. As the horizon drifted silently, the alien ship adjusted its course again. It mirrored human movements, almost as if playing a cautious game. Ethan noticed the patterns and smiled faintly. "They are learning," he said. Laura nodded. "And we are learning too. We have to remain patient." Any sudden move could escalate things unnecessarily. Humans often had the patience to outlast their enemies, and sometimes that patience alone was enough to create respect. The stars stretched endlessly around them. There was beauty in the silence, a calm that humans could appreciate even in dangerous situations. They had faced storms, black holes, and hostile encounters before, and they had survived. The galaxy had not yet understood the full potential of humans. The unknown ship would learn, slowly but surely, that humans were not to be underestimated. And so, as the hours passed and the unknown ship continued its silent observation, the human battleship moved steadily forward. It carried no aggression, no weapons ready to fire, only curiosity, intelligence, and the quiet confidence that humans naturally possessed. Somewhere deep inside the Empire, panic continued to grow. Somewhere among the stars, the first seeds of a new understanding of humanity were being planted. The Empire had not yet realized it, but the galaxy was about to learn that humans could go places, survive anything, and command respect without even trying. The human ship continued its journey, moving slowly but steadily. Ethan watched the sensors, Laura studied the signals, and the crew carried out their work without fear. They did not know what awaited them, but they had learned that the unknown was not to be feared. It was to be met with intelligence, caution, and determination. And far beyond, the Galactic Empire would soon feel the first stirrings of panic, all because a single human battleship had dared to move where no one thought it could go inside the Galactic Empire. Alarms blared across command centers. Screens lit up with red alerts, flashing warnings, and urgent messages from border stations. The reports all told the same story. A human battleship had moved far deeper into Imperial space than anyone thought possible. Generals shouted over each other, each blaming someone else for the failure. No one could understand how a human ship could travel so far without being detected, much less stop at a critical system on the edge of the Empire. Admiral Corveth stood silently at the front of the room, listening to the chaos. His face was pale, but his mind was sharp. He had fought countless enemies and survived wars that had destroyed entire fleets, yet humans were different. They did not fight like the others. They did not rely on overwhelming force or fear. They moved with calm confidence, and that calm confidence was frightening. Corveth took a deep breath and spoke, his voice steady. "We have underestimated them," he said. "We assumed humans were weak, but this proves we were wrong. We need a plan, and we need it now." In a smaller control room, analyst Lena Markov stared at the incoming data. The sensors had been tracking the human battleship for hours. She could see its size, its power, and its smooth, quiet movement. "It doesn't make sense," she whispered to her colleague. "Their ship could outgun several cruisers combined, yet it does not attack. It does not provoke. It simply moves forward as if nothing matters." Her colleague shook his head. "Humans are unpredictable. That is the problem. No one can predict what they will do." Lena nodded. Unpredictability was not something the Empire liked. They preferred order, rules, and control. Humans had none of those things in predictable ways. Back on the human battleship, Commander Ethan Cole reviewed the situation with Captain Laura Bennett. "They are nervous," Ethan said, pointing to the small blips of sensor interference. "The Empire is watching, and they are trying to figure us out." Laura studied the readings carefully. "They are building fleets," she said. "It looks like several squadrons are preparing to intercept us, but so far no weapons are being fired. They are cautious." Ethan nodded. Humans often relied on observation and patience. They had learned long ago that acting rashly could be dangerous. They had survived centuries by understanding their enemies first, not attacking blindly. The crew worked quietly, following procedures that had been drilled into them for years. Engineer Sarah Mills checked the ship's engines, ensuring that every system was running perfectly. Navigator Tommy Hayes adjusted their course to maintain a safe distance while keeping within the sensor range of the Empire. Each crew member understood the importance of calm and steady actions. Humans had a habit of remaining composed even when everything around them screamed danger. It was not arrogance, it was survival. Meanwhile, across the Empire, panic continued to grow. Fleets were mobilized, star systems were put on high alert, and citizens began whispering rumors of human power. Some said the humans must be ancient warriors, survivors of an extinct civilization. Others claimed they carried weapons that could destroy entire planets with a single strike. Fear spread faster than facts, and the Empire had no way to control it. The unknown human ship had already changed the perception of humanity from weak and insignificant to dangerous and unstoppable. Admiral Corveth called for a council of his top generals. Holographic images of star systems and fleet movements appeared in the room. "Listen carefully," he said. "We cannot allow this human vessel to reach the core systems without a plan. Yet we cannot simply attack blindly. Humans are different. They survive in ways we do not understand. We must act with precision and caution. A young general, furious and impatient, shouted, "We should destroy it immediately. One ship alone cannot be this dangerous." Corvath turned to him, his eyes calm but sharp. "You do not understand. Their strength is not in numbers or brute force. It is in their resilience, their intelligence, and their ability to adapt. Attacking without thought could create a disaster we cannot control." Back on the human ship, Ethan and Laura noticed the Empire's activity. They could see the lights of ships forming patterns, fleets gathering in formations designed to intimidate. Ethan smiled slightly. "They are trying to scare us. Humans rarely react with fear. We continue as planned." Laura nodded. "We have done nothing wrong. Our goal is to explore, to learn, and to understand. The rest is their concern." Humans often created tension without intending to. Their presence alone caused fear because of the way they approached challenges, calmly, decisively, and without hesitation. As the day passed, the human crew continued their work. Scientists recorded readings of nearby star systems, navigators charted safe paths, and engineers checked every system multiple times. The ship moved steadily forward, quiet and deliberate. The Empire's fleets followed, maintaining a cautious distance. Every action humans took seemed simple and harmless, yet it unnerved the aliens more than weapons ever could. Reports came in from border systems. Imperial officers sent messages filled with panic and speculation. "Humans must be more powerful than we believed," one message read. "They are moving without fear, without hesitation. No Empire ship has ever done this." Another report warned that citizens were losing faith in the Empire's control. Humans had unknowingly exposed weaknesses in the Empire's sense of security. For centuries, the Empire had relied on fear and reputation to maintain control. Humans, without intending to, had demonstrated that fear alone was not enough to enforce obedience. On the human ship, Ethan gathered his officers in the briefing room. "They are watching us closely," he said. "We have no desire to fight. Our mission is exploration. We must remain calm and follow our protocols. Any aggressive action could make the situation worse." Laura added, "They are learning about us. Our behavior, our reactions, and our decisions will shape how they see humanity. Let us show them patience and intelligence, not aggression." The crew nodded. Humans often led by example, demonstrating their values through action rather than words. Far away, the Empire's generals debated their next move. Some suggested direct confrontation, others suggested communication. The Empire had never seen a single ship reach this deep without prior permission. The fact that humans had done so with no hostile intent was deeply unsettling. Admiral Corvath realized that they could not simply attack and hoped to learn more about human capabilities before making any critical decisions. As night fell aboard the human ship, the crew prepared for a period of rest. Even in the tension-filled environment, humans adapted to their schedules. Sleeping shifts rotated so that someone was always monitoring sensors, engines, and communications. Ethan walked through the corridors, observing his crew. They were calm, focused, and ready for anything. Humans had a habit of preparing for the unexpected, and this habit had carried them across the galaxy safely so far. Meanwhile, across the Empire, rumors of human strength reached ordinary citizens. Stories spread of humans surviving impossible battles, adapting to deadly environments, and achieving the impossible with limited resources. Fear mixed with curiosity, and alien societies began to speculate about what humans could do if provoked. For the first time, the Empire's citizens began to question their leaders' ability to protect them. Humans had achieved something without firing a single weapon. They had created doubt in the hearts of thousands, perhaps millions, across the galaxy. As the hours passed, Ethan and Laura studied the movements of the Empire's fleets. They noticed small patterns, strategies, and formations. They are cautious, Laura said. Every move they make is careful. They are trying to test us without provoking a fight. Ethan nodded. Let them test. Humans are prepared for long games. We do not rush. We do not panic. That is our strength. Humans often relied on patience and observation, knowing that time could reveal weaknesses and opportunities that haste could destroy. In the Empire's command centers, discussions became more desperate. Analysts predicted possible human maneuvers, fleet strengths, and ship capabilities. The results were alarming. The humans' adaptability, intelligence, and confidence made conventional tactics less effective. For centuries, the Empire had relied on overwhelming force, strict protocols, and fear of punishment to maintain control. Humans ignored those rules naturally. They moved freely, observed carefully, and acted when necessary. The Empire realized that humans were unpredictable in ways that no sensor, no calculation, and no fleet could fully account for. Back on the human ship, Ethan and Laura met in the observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly before them. They fear us, even though we do not intend to harm them, Laura said quietly. Ethan looked at her. Humans have always been like this. Our presence alone can change situations because we adapt, we endure, and we survive. Fear follows us sometimes, whether we want it or not. The two officers stood in silence, watching the galaxy move slowly around them. And so, the human ship continued its journey through Imperial space. It moved steadily, silently, without aggression, yet the Empire's panic grew. Fleets followed cautiously, alarms continued to sound, and leaders debated endlessly. Humans had done nothing but exist in a place they were not expected, and yet that simple act had created waves of fear, uncertainty, and respect. The galaxy had begun to notice humanity, not through battles or conquest, but through calm intelligence, patient observation, and quiet confidence. Humans had shown that power did not always have to roar. It could move silently, adapt endlessly, and survive anything. And somewhere in the Empire, leaders and citizens alike would remember this moment. The first time a human battleship had dared to move freely in their territory without being challenged. The seeds of understanding and fear were planted, and the story of humanity's quiet strength was only beginning. The human battleship moved slowly but steadily, its engines humming quietly as it drifted through the star-strewn void. Commander Ethan Cole stood on the bridge, watching the distant dots of alien fleets assembling on the sensors. The Empire had finally gathered enough ships to surround the human vessel. Dozens of cruisers, fighters, and carriers moved into position, their formations precise and intimidating. Yet despite the overwhelming display, Ethan felt no fear. Humans had faced worse odds before, and they had survived. He turned to Captain Laura Bennett. "They want to intimidate us," he said. "Let them. We stay calm and follow our mission." Laura nodded. "Humans have always worked this way. Intimidation does not scare us, understanding does." The alien fleet stopped a short distance from the human ship. Massive warships loomed like silent predators in the void, their weapons pointed but inactive. Inside one of the Imperial command ships, Admiral Corvath studied the human vessel through enhanced sensors. It was simple in design compared to Imperial warships, yet every system was efficient, every section functional. The human ship could survive hits that would destroy a cruiser. It could maneuver in ways the Empire's engineers had thought impossible. Corvath felt a cold shiver. He had fought many enemies, but humans were different. They were not flashy. They did not rely on overwhelming weapons or intimidation. They moved with calm precision, and that was dangerous in ways the Empire could not measure. Back on the human battleship, Ethan gave orders. "Open a communication channel," he said. "We do not want conflict. Let's speak to them directly." Laura nodded and activated the comm system. The display showed the massive Imperial command ship, and a calm voice finally responded. It was Ambassador Nathan Price, a human diplomat assigned to handle alien contact. He had prepared for situations like this. "This is Ambassador Nathan Price of the human exploration vessel Horizon," the voice said. "We mean no harm. We are here to explore and learn. Please identify yourself." There was a pause before the alien voice replied, formal and cautious. "This is Admiral Korvath of the Galactic Empire. You have entered Imperial space without permission. Identify your intentions." Ethan stepped forward. "We are humans. Our mission is peaceful. We do not wish to fight. Our goal is to study and understand, not to conquer." Laura watched closely, noting every gesture, every subtle reaction on the screens. Humans relied on observation to guide their decisions, and this situation was no different. The alien admiral hesitated. He had never encountered a species that entered the heart of the Empire so boldly and calmly. Usually, intruders were aggressive or foolish or both. Humans were neither. They moved with intelligence and caution, yet they showed no fear. The sensors confirmed that the human ship could outgun several cruisers if it chose to, yet there were no aggressive weapons readings. Korvath's mind raced. How could one ship, alone, challenge the Empire's pride and power without firing a single shot? Inside the Empire, fleets remained in formation, watching the human ship. Officers whispered among themselves. "They do not attack," one said, "yet they have reached our core space. What are they capable of?" Another replied, "We do not know. They survive in ways we cannot predict. We have underestimated them." Fear spread quickly. Humans were not like any known enemy. They were intelligent, adaptable, and fearless in ways that the Empire could not understand. On the human ship, Ethan and Laura continued their calm approach. "They are testing us," Laura said. "Every move they make is careful. They are trying to measure our reaction." Ethan nodded. "Let them. Humans are patient. We survive long before the enemy makes mistakes." The crew worked quietly, monitoring sensors, adjusting systems, and keeping the ship running smoothly. Humans had a natural ability to endure long periods of tension without panicking, and it showed now. Suddenly, a new message arrived from Korvath. He spoke directly to Ethan this time. "Humans, why have you come so close without warning? Your presence threatens the Empire." Ethan replied calmly, "We did not intend to threaten. We only wish to explore, to learn about the universe. We respect your borders and we will cooperate with your officials." The conversation was tense but respectful. Humans did not rely on threats or intimidation. Their strength was in clarity, honesty, and calm action. This approach unsettled the Empire. The alien fleet adjusted its position slightly, as if testing boundaries. Inside the Imperial command ship, officers argued. Some wanted to attack, some wanted to communicate further. Korvath weighed the options carefully. He realized that the humans' calm intelligence made them unpredictable. Attacking could trigger an escalation the Empire was not prepared for. Every calculation he made only increased uncertainty. Humans were not like other enemies. They did not act with panic, aggression, or predictable patterns. They acted with logic and adaptability. On the horizon, the human ship maintained its course. Ethan and Laura studied the alien movements. "They are cautious," Laura said. "They are trying to understand our capabilities without provoking a fight." Ethan smiled faintly. "Humans have survived by observing first and acting second. Patience is our ally. We do not rush. We do not panic." A small fleet of alien fighters approached, moving slowly toward the human ship. They did not fire weapons, only scanned the vessel. Ethan ordered sensors to record every detail. "They are curious," he said. "Every species is until they understand us." Laura nodded. Humans often relied on knowledge and observation to survive. The unknown could be more dangerous than an attack, and understanding was the first step to safety. Meanwhile, in distant Imperial worlds, rumors spread of the human battleship. Citizens were terrified and fascinated at the same time. Stories of human survival, ingenuity, and calm intelligence spread like wildfire. Humans were no longer minor players in the galaxy. They had reached the heart of the Empire without fighting, yet their presence alone caused panic. Fear grew faster than facts, and the Empire struggled to control the narrative. On the human ship, Ethan convened a meeting with his officers. "We are not here to fight," he said. "Our actions speak louder than words. We will continue to follow our protocols. Any aggressive move could make the situation worse. Humans survive by thinking, not by rushing." Laura added, "We must remain calm. Our behavior will shape how they see humanity. Let us show patience, intelligence, and restraint." The crew nodded. Humans often led by example, demonstrating their strength through action rather than aggression. Hours passed. The alien fleet maintained formation, circling the human ship like a cautious predator. Ethan and Laura continued monitoring, recording, and analyzing every movement. The humans' calm patience began to frustrate the aliens. Corveth realized that their usual tactics, intimidation, overwhelming force, and strict control, had little effect. Humans did not respond predictably. They adapted, observed, and endured. The Empire's confidence wavered for the first time in centuries. Inside the Empire, debates continued. Some argued for an attack to reassert control. Others suggested further observation to learn more about humans' true capabilities. Corveth realized that the humans' approach had already shifted the balance. Fear of the unknown, respect for resilience, and caution replaced certainty and arrogance. Humans had achieved something remarkable without firing a single weapon. They had forced the Empire to reconsider everything it believed about power. Back on the human ship, Ethan walked along the observation deck, watching the alien ships through the windows. Stars stretched endlessly in all directions. "They fear us," Laura said quietly. "Even though we have done nothing to harm them." Ethan nodded. "Humans have always worked this way. We survive by being adaptable, intelligent, and calm. Fear is natural. It follows us, whether we want it or not." As the day passed, the human ship continued to drift through Imperial space. Its crew worked efficiently, checking systems, recording data, and preparing for any situation. The Empire's fleet remained in place, wary of provoking a conflict. Humans had demonstrated that strength was not always measured in firepower. It could be measured in intelligence, patience, and calm resolve. Suddenly, a small alien envoy ship approached the horizon. It moved carefully, signaling peaceful intentions. Ethan ordered communications open. "We welcome your approach," he said. "Let us speak openly. We are here to understand and to learn. We do not wish to fight." The alien envoy transmitted a formal reply. "We wish to understand as well. Your presence has caused great concern. We hope for peaceful dialogue." Ethan nodded. Humans often resolved conflicts with understanding first. Their calm intelligence made others question assumptions and reconsider actions. As night fell aboard the human battleship, the crew continued their duties. Sensors remained active, engines monitored, and communication channels open. Humans were patient and disciplined, used to enduring tension without panic. Their calm presence continued to unsettle the Empire, showing that strength did not always roar. It could endure silently, adapt quickly, and survive anything. And so, the first real contact between humanity and the Galactic Empire unfolded. Humans had moved deep into alien space without aggression, yet their presence created tension, fear, and curiosity. The Empire realized that humans were unpredictable, adaptable, and patient. Humans had shown their strength not through weapons, but through calm intelligence, observation, and careful action. The galaxy had begun to notice humanity, and the seeds of respect and caution were being planted. The horizon moved steadily forward, its crew composed and vigilant. Somewhere in the Empire, leaders and citizens alike began to question everything they thought they knew about humans. The first contact had not ended in battle, yet it had changed the balance of power in subtle but profound ways. Humans had arrived, not to fight, but to endure, to understand, and to show that strength could exist in quiet confidence and patient action. And in the emptiness of space, the human battleship sailed on, carrying a crew that was calm, intelligent, and ready for whatever came next. The Empire had not yet realized it, but humanity's presence was already rewriting the rules of power in the galaxy. The human battleship moved steadily through the void, its quiet engines cutting through the darkness. Commander Ethan Cole stood on the bridge, watching the alien fleet maintain a cautious distance. Captain Laura Bennett studied the sensors, noting the careful movements of the enemy ships. Humans had entered the Empire's space without permission, yet they had done so without aggression. Now, the Empire was beginning to react not with attack, but with careful observation and growing fear. Inside the Empire, Admiral Corveth gathered his top advisors. They surrounded a large holographic map showing the positions of every Imperial fleet and the lone human ship. "We have never seen a species like this," Corveth said quietly. "One ship, no weapons fired, yet it can survive hits that would destroy our cruisers. Their crew shows calm, intelligence, and patience. We do not know what they are capable of, but we know we cannot predict them." A young analyst spoke nervously. "Admiral, our scouts confirm that every system aboard the human ship is redundant. Even if one fails, others take over. They have backups for backups. This is not normal. They are prepared for everything." Corveth nodded slowly. Humans were unlike any species he had faced. They survived disasters that would wipe out entire fleets, and they adapted quickly. The Empire's confidence faltered. Back on the human ship, Ethan and Laura prepared for another day of exploration and observation. Crew members moved efficiently, checking sensors, engines, and communications. Humans had learned to adapt to dangerous and unpredictable environments over centuries. Their history was one of surviving natural disasters, wars, and hostile conditions on their homeworld. Every crew member carried that legacy, and it showed in their calm and methodical approach. A small alien ship approached cautiously, signaling its desire for peaceful dialogue. Ethan opened communications. "We welcome your approach," he said. "We wish to learn and understand. We do not seek conflict. Our mission is exploration." The alien captain replied carefully, "Your presence is unprecedented. Your ship can survive more than our entire fleet. We wish to know why you do not attack." Ethan responded calmly, "Humans do not need to attack to show strength. We survive, adapt, and endure. Our mission is knowledge, not conquest." Laura watched closely, noting the alien reactions. Humans often showed their power without aggression, and it unnerved those who expected violence to define strength. In the Empire, the Council debated the humans' capabilities. Some argued that the humans' resilience made them dangerous. Others suggested that their intelligence and patience were more terrifying than any weapon. The Council realized that humans did not fight like other species. They did not rely on overwhelming numbers, aggressive attacks, or fear tactics. Humans studied, adapted, and outlasted threats, often turning situations to their advantage simply by surviving longer than expected. Analyst Lena Markov studied the human ship systems closely. "Their ship is simple in design," she explained to a colleague. "Yet every function is efficient, every system is redundant. Their crew is trained to handle emergencies in ways we cannot anticipate. They are not just strong, they are unpredictable, and that is terrifying." The colleague nodded. Humans' unpredictability was a weapon in itself. The Empire had relied on control, predictability, and fear for centuries. Humans had none of those weaknesses, and that realization shook them deeply. On the horizon, Ethan convened a meeting with his officers. "They are watching us closely," he said. "Every movement, every decision is being analyzed. We must continue to act with calm and intelligence. Humans survive by patience and observation, and now is the time to show it. Laura added, "We have the opportunity to teach them something about humanity. Not through weapons, but through our behavior. We survive because we adapt, because we think, and because we endure." The crew nodded. Humans often led by example, demonstrating their power through patience and careful action. As the day passed, humans studied the alien formations. They noticed patterns, test maneuvers, and repeated observations. Ethan realized that the Empire was trying to measure their capabilities, but humans had already anticipated most scenarios. The crew remained calm, focused on their mission, and ready for any situation. Humans survived by preparing for the unexpected and by acting logically under pressure. Their calm confidence unsettled the aliens more than any display of weapons could have. Admiral Corveth called another council. "We must understand them," he said. "We cannot fight them without risking disaster. They are not aggressive, but they survive in ways we cannot predict. Their technology is advanced, yes, but their greatest strength is their crew and their mindset. We must learn from them, or we risk losing our advantage entirely." Some officers muttered in disagreement, but Corvath's words were firm. Humans did not need weapons to be feared. Their resilience and adaptability were enough to challenge the Empire's assumptions. On the human ship, Laura studied the alien responses. "They are beginning to understand that strength is not always about weapons," she said. Ethan nodded. "Humans survive by endurance, intelligence, and adaptability. That is what makes them formidable." They observed small alien ships approaching, scanning the vessel, testing defenses, but always stopping short of attack. Humans did not provoke. They allowed the aliens to learn and adapt as well. Patience was a human strength, and it had become a weapon in itself. In distant imperial systems, citizens and soldiers alike whispered rumors of human resilience. Stories spread of humans surviving impossible odds, thriving in hostile environments, and outlasting enemies far stronger than themselves. The Empire had relied on fear to maintain control. Now, humans demonstrated that confidence, intelligence, and patience could inspire fear even without a fight. Humans had achieved something remarkable. They were feared not for aggression, but for their ability to endure and adapt. As night fell aboard the human ship, Ethan walked along the observation deck, watching the distant alien fleets through the windows. "They are nervous," Laura said quietly. "Even though we have done nothing to harm them." Ethan smiled. "Humans have always been like this. Our strength comes from understanding, adapting, and surviving. That is enough to change perceptions, even without weapons." The crew moved about calmly, monitoring systems, recording data, and preparing for the next phase of their mission. Humans had trained for endurance, and now they demonstrated it under alien scrutiny. The Empire continued to debate. Some wanted to attack immediately. Others suggested studying the humans more closely. Corveth realized that every aggressive move could backfire. Humans did not fight like the others. They endured, adapted, and survived. That endurance made them unpredictable, and unpredictability was dangerous in a universe that relied on control and predictability. Humans were teaching the Empire a lesson without firing a single shot. A small alien envoy requested direct dialogue with Ethan and Laura. The communication opened. "Your presence is extraordinary," the alien captain said. "Your ship could destroy fleets, yet you show no aggression." "How is this possible?" Ethan replied calmly. "Humans survive through intelligence, adaptability, and patience. Strength does not always need weapons. We endure, we observe, and we act when necessary. That is our way." Laura added, "We do not seek to dominate. We seek understanding. Our strength lies in our mindset, not our firepower." The aliens were silent for a moment, clearly unaccustomed to such reasoning. Inside the Empire, analysts worked to understand the humans. Every calculation, every scenario, revealed the same conclusion. Humans were unpredictable, intelligent, and resilient. They could survive attacks, adapt to disasters, and maintain calm under extreme pressure. The Empire realized that their traditional measures of power, fleet size, weapons, intimidation, did not fully apply to humanity. Humans had become a new kind of threat, one that could not be measured by numbers alone. On the human ship, Ethan gathered his officers. "They are learning," he said. "Our presence alone is showing them something about humanity. We do not need to prove ourselves with weapons. Our endurance, patience, and intelligence speak for themselves." Laura added, "Humans survive by thinking, by adapting, and by remaining calm. We do not need to fight to show strength. That is the lesson we give them." The crew nodded, understanding the subtle power in their calm presence. As the human ship continued through Imperial space, the alien fleets maintained cautious formations, constantly monitoring, constantly learning. Humans moved steadily, recording data, observing systems, and maintaining communication. Their calm intelligence unsettled the Empire, showing that strength did not always roar. It could endure, adapt, and survive. Humans had demonstrated that power could exist quietly, and that quiet power could inspire both fear and respect. Admiral Korvath looked at the reports again. Humans were not aggressive. They had not fired a weapon, yet their presence had changed the Empire's perception of power. They had demonstrated that intelligence, patience, and adaptability could challenge centuries of tradition, control, and confidence. Humans were teaching the Empire that survival and calm resolve were weapons of their own kind. Back on the horizon, Ethan and Laura continued to monitor the fleets. Every move, every signal, every observation confirmed the same truth. Humans did not need aggression to command attention. Their presence alone reshaped the thinking of a galaxy that had long underestimated them. Patience, observation, and endurance were their greatest weapons. Humans survived where others failed, adapted where others could not, and endured where others would panic. And so, as the stars stretched endlessly around the human battleship, the Empire slowly began to understand the truth. Humans were formidable not because of fleets or weapons, but because of their mindset. Their calm intelligence, adaptability, and ability to endure made them unpredictable and respected. The galaxy had begun to see that humans were different, and that difference could change everything. The human battleship moved quietly through Imperial space, carrying a crew that was calm, prepared, and intelligent. Somewhere far away, the Empire realized that humanity was a force unlike any other, not through aggression, but through endurance, adaptability, and quiet strength. Humans had shown that power could be measured not by firepower, but by the ability to survive, learn, and endure anything. The lesson had been delivered, and the Empire would never forget it. The human battleship continued its steady course through the star-filled expanse. Commander Ethan Cole stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the distant dots of alien fleets. The Galactic Empire had not attacked, yet its ships followed cautiously, their formations tense and precise. Captain Laura Bennett observed the sensors, noting small movements that suggested hesitation. Humans had entered the heart of the Empire without firing a single weapon, yet their presence alone had created fear, curiosity, and a growing respect. Inside the Empire, Admiral Korvath called another council. Holographic images of human and Imperial ships filled the room. "We cannot underestimate them any longer," he said. "Their ship is capable, their crew is intelligent and patient, and their mindset makes them unpredictable. We have seen it firsthand. Humans do not need weapons to be dangerous. They survive, adapt, and endure." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. Humans had demonstrated a new kind of strength, one that the Empire had never faced before. It was not measured in fleet size or firepower, but in calm confidence, intelligence, and resilience. Back on the human ship, Ethan addressed the crew. "We have reached a point where the Empire must recognize us," he said. "Our mission remains the same: exploration, observation, and understanding. But we must also be clear: humans will defend themselves if threatened. That is all they need to know." Laura nodded. "Our presence has already changed perceptions. We do not need to fight to show strength. Patience, intelligence, and calm confidence are our weapons." The crew continued their work quietly, monitoring sensors, recording data, and maintaining systems. Humans thrived in long-term situations, adapting and surviving where others would panic. A small alien envoy approached the human battleship, signaling a desire for formal communication. Ethan opened the channel. "We welcome dialogue," he said. "Humans are here to understand, not to conquer. Our mission is peaceful." The alien captain replied, "Your presence has challenged everything we believed about humans. Your calm and intelligence are unlike anything we have seen. We wish to establish formal contact and dialogue." Ethan nodded. Humans often solved conflicts through understanding and diplomacy, and this was a perfect example. Inside the Empire, discussions continued. Some officers worried that allowing humans to continue without confrontation would make them seem weak. Others realized that the humans' calm strength demanded respect. Corvath understood that humans were not easily intimidated, and that aggression could provoke unpredictable consequences. Humans had taught the Empire a lesson without firing a single shot. Strength could exist quietly, patiently, and intelligently. On the human ship, Laura and Ethan studied the incoming alien communications. "They are beginning to recognize us as equals," Laura said. Ethan smiled. "Humans do not seek equality through aggression. We earn it by showing intelligence, resilience, and calm confidence. That is our way." The crew continued their routine, maintaining the ship, recording observations, and monitoring the Empire's fleets. Their calm persistence had created an environment where dialogue, rather than conflict, was now possible. Across the Empire, rumors of the human ship spread rapidly. Citizens spoke in hushed tones of a species that survived impossible odds, adapted to harsh environments, and demonstrated patience and intelligence beyond what the Empire had imagined. Humans were no longer seen as weak or insignificant. Fear mixed with admiration, and the Empire began to acknowledge that humanity could not be controlled through intimidation alone. Humans commanded respect by existing, enduring, and remaining calm in the face of overwhelming uncertainty. In the council chambers, Corvath addressed his officers. "We must formally recognize humanity," he said. "They are not our enemies, but they are not like any species we have encountered. Their strength lies in their endurance, intelligence, and calm demeanor. This is a new reality we must accept. Diplomacy is now the safest and most intelligent path forward." Some officers nodded reluctantly, realizing that aggression could lead to unforeseen consequences. Humans were not predictable, and that unpredictability was powerful. Back on the human ship, Ethan and Laura prepared for formal dialogue with the Empire. Ambassador Nathan Price joined them. "They are ready to negotiate," he said. "They respect our abilities and they fear provoking us unnecessarily." "We have already changed their perspective." Ethan nodded. Humans often relied on demonstration rather than words to earn trust and respect. Their actions showed who they were, and now the Empire was learning that lesson. As communication channels opened, Ethan spoke calmly to Admiral Corvath and the other leaders. "Humans do not seek war," he said. "We explore, we learn, and we endure. If threatened, we will defend ourselves. Beyond that, our mission is peaceful." Corvath listened closely. He realized that humans' calm strength and intelligence had already shifted the balance. The Empire had assumed that dominance came from weapons, fear, and control. Humans had shown that survival, adaptability, and patience could be more formidable than fleets of warships. The alien leaders asked questions about human history, technology, and mindset. Ethan answered clearly and honestly. Humans have survived disasters on our homeworld, he said. We have learned to adapt, to endure, and to act intelligently. Our ships, our crews, and our strategies are designed for survival and understanding. We do not need to attack to prove our strength. Our presence alone demonstrates it. Laura added, we teach through example, not through destruction. Humans survive by thinking, observing, and enduring. That is our greatest power. The alien delegates were quiet, clearly unaccustomed to such reasoning. Across the Empire, the recognition of humanity spread quickly. Fleets adjusted their formations, not in preparation for attack, but to show respect. Citizens began to speak of humans with admiration. Humans had arrived without aggression, yet they had reshaped perceptions of power across the galaxy. The Empire had learned that strength could be silent, intelligence could command respect, and calm confidence could instill fear in even the most powerful adversaries. On the human ship, Ethan and Laura continued their work. Crew members recorded data, monitored systems, and maintained communication. Humans thrived in situations of patience and endurance. Their calm demeanor had already proven more effective than fleets, weapons, or threats. The galaxy had begun to understand that humans were formidable, not because they conquered, but because they survived, adapted, and endured. As the formal recognition process continued, Corvath spoke privately with his advisors. Humans have changed everything, he said. We must treat them with respect. Aggression would be unwise. They are not like any species we have faced. Their calm, intelligence, and endurance make them unpredictable and respected. This is a new era. The advisors nodded, understanding that humans had reshaped the rules of interaction simply through their presence. On the horizon, the human battleship moved steadily through space. Ethan observed the alien fleets from the bridge. They respect us now, he said. Laura smiled. We did not fight, we did not threaten, and we have earned their recognition. Humans do not need war to be formidable. The crew worked quietly, their calm efficiency demonstrating the human way, survival through intelligence, observation, and endurance. The galaxy slowly adjusted to the new reality. Humans were no longer underestimated. The Empire recognized that they could not rely on intimidation or force alone. Humans had proven that patience, resilience, and intelligence could be more powerful than fleets or weapons. Fear and respect spread across systems, teaching every civilization that humanity's strength was unique. A final message arrived from the Empire, formal and respectful. Humans are recognized as capable and intelligent. Your calm and strength have earned our respect. We hope for continued peaceful relations. Ethan acknowledged the message. We are glad for dialogue, he said. Humans explore, learn, and endure. We do not seek conflict. We hope for understanding and cooperation across the galaxy. As the stars stretched endlessly, the human ship continued its journey. Crew members moved efficiently, maintaining systems, recording data, and observing the galaxy around them. Humans had arrived in imperial space without aggression, yet they had reshaped perceptions, instilled respect, and created a new balance. Their calm confidence, intelligence, and endurance had proven stronger than fleets, weapons, or fear. Admiral Corvath and his advisors realized that the galaxy had changed. Humans had arrived, not to fight, but to endure, to observe, and to teach a lesson without words. Strength could exist in patience, intelligence, and calm action. The Empire would never forget the presence of a single human battleship that moved freely through its heart without firing a shot. And so, the human battleship sailed onward, carrying a crew that was calm, intelligent, and prepared for whatever the universe could offer. Across the galaxy, humans were respected, not for conquest, but for their quiet strength, their endurance, and their ability to survive and adapt where others would fail. The Empire had learned that humanity was a force unlike any other, not through aggression, but through patience, intelligence, and unwavering resilience. The story of the human battleship spread across star systems. Humans were recognized as formidable, not because they sought power, but because they demonstrated that calm, careful intelligence and the ability to endure any challenge could command respect and inspire both fear and admiration. The galaxy understood a new truth: humans did not need permission to be powerful. And in the endless darkness of space, the human ship moved forward, silent and steady, carrying the quiet confidence of a species that had survived, adapted, and endured to become a legend among the stars. The Galactic Empire and all who watched knew that humanity had arrived, and the balance of the galaxy would never be the same.